Hello, my name is Sabina Peru, and I'm a printmaker, a local printmaker in Victoria, BC. And I'm here included in a group show at the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria, the Massey Gallery. And I've got 5 pieces here that are of different printmaking techniques. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is called the individual. And it's the technique I used was multiple plate reduction. Rather than me getting into the process of how this print was done, I'm simply going to talk about the imagery. And what it is, it's a group of people. It's an interior scene where there's a group of people sitting on some chairs, and they seem to be thinking of different things because there are symbols appearing in their heads. And there seems to be a force field that's holding them together. And it's titled The Individual because there's one individual person standing beside the crowd, and he or she is trying to be, has broken away from the force field of society, and it's trying to have a voice. And basically, it's a person who's an individual. This piece here is called Lyrical Dream, and it has to do with the chaotic dream state. That when one goes into a dream, there's sometimes can be very chaotic. It could be a very chaotic scene with things flying around and lots of uncertainties. And so you can see there's 2 doorways. One of them is a person is facing out, and the other one is coming into the dream state.
Yeah, I'm Gordon Friesen, and we're at the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria right now, and this is part of the group printmaking exhibition. These are my 2 pieces here on the wall that I've submitted for this show. I guess I got started in relief printmaking years ago when I was attending Douglas College, and there was an instructor there by the name of Dick Bond who was teaching a course in applied design. And for some reason he chose the printmaking media as a way of working. So I started doing relief prints in yellow cedar. And since then, currently I'm using linoleum, commercially purchased floor covering. And so I've been making lino prints using that media. This bottom print here that's on the wall there, I call it Hastings Street, originally the idea came to me from when I was a young fella in the mid-50s, and I saw what probably were beatniks on Hastings Street. And so when I was thinking about ideas for a show, this idea came back to me, and I wanted to recreate the image of a busy street in downtown Vancouver. So I went down and I photographed the Army and Navy down on Hastings Street, the way it still exists. And in the Vancouver archives, I found the photograph of the Rex Theatre that is part of the Army and Navy store now, but in its day, because that was down in the entertainment area of Vancouver, it was an elegant 1,000-seat theatre with a pipe organ and so forth. And since then, that entertainment area has sort of been allowed to decay, but this still talks a little bit about the energy and the life that is still down in that area of Vancouver. So that's this image here, and the one above it, that's called Jonah's Conundrum. And of course, the poor individual that's sitting there throwing the bones and contemplating his future is Jonah, who, as the story goes, is in the belly of a large fish for 3 days. Unfortunately, I don't think the story has a very happy ending. There's nothing really good happened to Jonah in the story as it's told. So I thought I would just illustrate him contemplating his situation.
It's called, it's a series of there's 3 pieces, and they're called Local Habitation. And it's from a Shakespearean idea about creativity. Lovers, madmen, and poets bringing together ideas and creating a specific form for them, a local habitation and a name. And so that's my idea of getting these kind of cloud-like formations in the background, and then kind of superimposed on that a photographic picture of some specific thing, kind of coalescing into an image, like a cloud that you all of a sudden you see as a specific image. So I wanted to give that sense of the representational image coming into a kind of formation and happening at a certain point, like in a photograph. The photograph, things are light, and all of a sudden you see them. When you watch photographs being developed, they kind of, all of a sudden, they appear. And I wanted to give that sense of that happening. The images in them are kind of autobiographical. This is a street that I lived on. It's St. Lawrence Boulevard in Montreal, and my apartment and studio is up there. And I wanted, and it has a kind of sense of the water and the flow. I wanted to have that kind of sense. So it's not a photograph, it's done with aquatint, but I wanted to look as if, I wanted to remind people of photography, that things are visions, not always objects, but the vision of it. This is some pieces about these dolls that I make, kind of doll figures, and one of them is made from, and then they were pinned on the wall, and then I did a photograph, and so kind of bringing together a relationship. And then this one is another figure like that. It's I call it the flyer. and it's also made with paper, and it's just a shot of the figure in front of a couple of shelves. I wouldn't say each one was like a madman or a lover or a poet, but it kind of talks about that kind of thing, and it's kind of about making the way that through art, I kind of make myself an identity by telling stories about myself, my life, my feelings, the places I live, the objects I create and the objects that are around me, and then bringing them back into the art and then reflecting on them. And it's a creation of identity as much as it is creation of pieces. Yeah.
So this is my work. My name is Nicholas Vandergooten. I'm a printmaker. I print at Ground Zero Studios with Alan and Victoria. And this is a series of work. It's a story of these two characters that we see here. They represent many things, and a lot of that is up to the viewer, but it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game in which he's pursuing her or searching for her or longing for her within a natural environment, and she is rather hard to find and ephemeral and perhaps not there, perhaps in his mind, something like that. The inspiration actually comes from a journal that I read while I was in college that was of a miner that came from Nanaimo and went to the Yukon to search for gold, and he never found any. He actually came back after a few years because his father burnt to death in a fire in a mill in Nanaimo. But by reading between the lines of his incredible journey, I started to get a feeling of why we search for things we can't find, or why we have things like gold fever or those kind of desires. And so the story is a little bit about that. The woman can represent a muse, she can represent his searching desire, she can represent his own inspiration, as this sort of thing here. And then the viewer can interpret it in any way. And it's an unfolding narrative that is constantly growing, and the work keeps happening. And I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if he's going to find her. I don't know what, but that's it. And they're all relief prints. This is woodblock prints. These are linos. Yeah, I'm working quite a bit on the edge of what is usually done with lino. These small lines are unusual. It's more like an etching technique in which you make a small groove. So the printing is very difficult. I have to use wet paper, practice with using drier inks and things like that. So in that way, I feel kind of a little bit like him, because like I'm struggling with this, especially this print here is incredibly difficult to get these lines to appear, to not disappear, because you need a certain amount of ink to make the black be properly black. So it's a very high degree of failure in the prints, and a lot of editing after and things like that. My previous work was larger and very meticulous, and this work is more about having an idea and producing it and letting it feed into the next one quickly, and keeping that energy going rather than being stuck on one very large, impressive work. And it's still growing, and as am I, and that's it, pretty much. Yeah.